Lord help me that there will be no tech problems this time, this stream. Hello everyone. Give me a moment here to get us going. I need to share the link to the stream. Share, copy, there we go. Hello Joseph, welcome. There we go. All right, cool. Now, let's see here. So, at the end of or rather, for the Xenoblade stream, I like the format I had going there and what I was experimenting with in the beginning. So, I have recorded already first hour of the game up to this point you see on the right. This is the end of the first dungeon, if you will. And this is for just a day one impression stream, I think, ideal in exploring it, because I also, having already played it, I have a good grip on I can answer some questions. I can answer questions right out the gate without having to relay any questions to chat. There might be some, but yeah, if I do this, I believe the stream is going to be more engaging. There'll always be better progression, and it's a lot easier for both games to continue going on their own without me worrying about progression. And it gives me the ability to just scrub through to anywhere I want and provide a lot more context to anything I want to explain. So SaGa Frontier 2 Remastered dropped yesterday after a Nintendo Direct. Shadow dropped. I remember SaGa Frontier 2 Remaster was up on like PlayAsia, I think, for like well over a year at this point. It went up like a little bit after SaGa Frontier 1 Remastered came out. And it was just kind of sitting there on PlayAsia with the logo. That's nothing more but the logo. So, I mean, it's been known that it existed. It's just, you know, waiting for it. And we got it. SaGa Frontier 2. I really love SaGa Frontier 1. I think SaGa Frontier 1 would be my favorite Saga game. This one's a bit of a departure. It's not, there's a lot of this that's more similar to like Legend of Mana. So, yeah, there's a lot to, there's a lot I'm already prepared for, so that's enough headroom to wind back all the way. Going from here. Oh, you can see my cursor. Here, let me fix that. On both of them? No, there we go. The first, so, let's get past this part. So in the original, in both versions of the game, when you first start them up for the first time, it will go right into the new game cutscene presentation. The reason it isn't doing that in what I'm showing of my footage on the right is because I recorded for an hour and then I realized there was no sound in the recording. So I had to re-record. So I re-recorded from there, but it does start the presentation the exact same way as the original, but if you're starting it from here, you see this. AI upscaled these. We get more, I mean, we can see it anywhere at any point here. See, isn't this nice? So yeah, there's a AI upscaling for those backgrounds, and they don't look nearly as good as the AI upscaling they've done with... Well, Legend of Mana was more like repainting. And then SaGa Frontier 1 Remaster was actually really well done. That one was also still AI, but that one was tuned pretty well. I've seen a lot of people compliment this style, though. A lot of people that may have not seen the original, or even just aren't looking too closely for the smeared line details, think it looks great. If you're gonna have an eye for it already, it's gonna stick out. No option for original textures. It kinda... I wonder if I would prefer that. I'd have to see it on the sharp sprites and everything. Oh, no. Oh, you really actually, you couldn't do that because they're also done for 16:9. So not all of them might have the 16:9 already there. 6 hours today, nice. PS1 RPG remasters in the past few years. Yeah, so much so that that's part of what Square was talking about with we're releasing too many damn games. We're gonna start releasing less games, which meant they're gonna space them out better, is what that actually meant. Because they're still doing all these games, you know, the SaGa team, the Mana team, they're still sitting at Square doing something, you know. So, there is, let's see here, back from the beginning, right here, right? When you first start the game up, it asks you can choose to include or exclude content that is in this new version of the game. So you can have it exclude the new content or include it. Opting to include the new content will add new gameplay elements to the experience. Be aware that this includes changes to events and mechanics that cause them to differ from the original game. This decision cannot be changed after you've started playing. When carrying over your data, it is possible to switch from a game that excludes new content to one that includes it, but once new content is enabled, it cannot be disabled on consecutive playthroughs, which tells us there is now also New Game Plus. And with New Game Plus, if you do your first playthrough as excluded new content, your second playthrough, New Game Plus, can include the new content. But if you start with include new content, your second playthrough can't exclude it. Now, what is new content? We got a number of things I will go over in a bit. Dim, but still 1080p, right? I think so, yeah. There's not really a visual advantage to any of these versions, including Switch. So Switch is still 1080-60, as far as I can tell. I did look up some footage. Switch handles this game perfectly fine at 1080-60. So I also would trust there's a separate PS4 version. I'm gonna trust that is also like that. Looks fine on Steam Deck as well. But I would also consult Steam forums more so for that. But it does, I did see a video showing frame rate. It's like up to 90 consistently on Steam Deck. Frontier games different from Romancing Saga. I'm only familiar with one Romancing Saga game. From there I can tell you it's not really the same lineage system, though there is a... Man, I'm not informed enough to be able to explain that part. It would be hard for me to be able to explain that with how little knowledge I have of the romancing games. I'm gonna just leave it at that, unfortunately. A or B tier game. That's good. Not all games need to be AAA. Yeah, right. This is and even then, I was looking forward to this, right? And we'll be going through it, though I was reading some more controversial, mixed thoughts on this game. Either way, though, people agree it had like a strong beginning. But it is, what, $30, thankfully. 25 on Green Man Gaming. And Square gave me a key. So also, keep that in mind, you know, it's, you're not gonna buy it, perfect, that's fine. 30 on Steam, reasonable price, right, yeah, if you want it. Otherwise, that's up to you. I will, again, while I'm telling you that these backgrounds do stick out to me, it's pretty damn subjective, I've noticed from people, some impressed by the backgrounds, it kind of sticks out to me that the things could be AI upscaled and good. SaGa Frontier 1 is a good example of that. I don't think they did it right here. And the idea of AI upscaling predates anything you know about modern generative AI. So forgetting any of that when we reference it here. Even before Stable Diffusion is a thing. This probably has it, but I mean, yeah, it doesn't look, to me it sticks out. It gets the art style across, though, I think. But still, sprites are maintained. 40 Canadian? It should be 50. Hello, Donnie. So yeah, I was expecting 50, so it was cool to see that. It was, and if they didn't give me a key, this was a case of if they didn't give me a key, I was just gonna buy it anyway. And I am gonna buy it anyway on Steam. I'll kind of need to, and Switch. Because I asked for a PS5 code specifically, which includes the PS4 version. So anyway, new content. Sorry about that whole diversion. Let's see here. Let me get these back aligned, because this is still back here in the original, so... This is what I mean, like, if they have to kind of do new things to expand the backgrounds, they have not done any stretching. It's more scrolling or just, I'm pretty sure, new, like, areas filled in. Let's look here. Let me rewind here. That looks new because it, actually... Huh, but it's not stretched. How'd they do that? Oh yeah, no, there is more to it. Yeah, they drew in more. I was counting the pillars wrong. Yeah, no, they drew more on. Or it was always there. Looks bad. I can't disagree with that. Yeah, AI artifacting. It's noticeable. It's funny, the sprites there, in a CRT, you wouldn't have noticed that those sprites were not part of the background, and now it's kind of easy to see that. Yeah, because, yeah, it looks great in SaGa Frontier 1 Remaster, though that had a very different art style. That had a pretty damn different art style, and lend itself better to that. I would have liked the Legend of Mana approach, but, yeah. I really enjoyed those ones. AI artifacting. When upscaling with AI, there are consistent mistakes that it will make, such as it will interpret line weight differently, or it'll interpret it as, like, squiggly. When the original may have been, like, straight lines. Yeah, so look at, I would say the line is a good example of lines in the original that may not have been so squiggly, and the AI kinda takes that and then, like, doubles down on it to make it sharp. There's a point option. The point option has nothing to do with the backgrounds. The point option actually has to do with the sprites. And I was testing it to see what it was actually doing. There is a texture filtering option in the game for between point and linear. And yeah, point will be sharper. However, it's a very, very, very tiny amount of blur with linear, and linear is the default. It is so small, you wouldn't be able to tell from like 100%. You would have to zoom in to see it. The reason they do that is when you take sprites like these and you're constantly upscaling them and downscaling them depending on in battle, depending where they are in a cutscene, depending if they're being zoomed on or not. If they're point and the pixels are that sharp, they'll be shimmering. If you do the linear filtering, it's just enough to avoid some shimmering. By linear makes me puke. Yeah, if it was that bad. Nah, nothing like that. Because you can't even tell. I'm telling you, you have to zoom in like 400% to see what they mean by linear. It's crazy. Because it's on. On the right side, it's linear. I can show you the background here, right? Let me show this. Get rid of the dim on it. This is linear. This is the quote-unquote blurrier option. And I would say if you do say anything, it's YouTube in the color space. And then also switch the menu button to triangle. Oh, you can. Thank God. Fuck. Good, thank God. Because you can do that in the original as well. The original, it's really interesting. We'll see it in the footage later. So anyway, this is... You saw linear with the sprites. And that's point. That's not like... It's not that far off. The blur is so minuscule. However, yeah, if the shimmering doesn't bother you, it might even be expected there anyway. Yeah, you just throw it on point and leave it. If you want the sharpest possible image, yeah, you go with point. The default is linear, and thank God it's not nearly as bad as most cases of linear. Okay, now I already got used to it. There. This is why no one... You know, this linear setting works because nobody has been able to tell, as far as I could tell, that it has to do with the sprites. When I was reading up this texture option, people assumed it was the backgrounds. No, it has nothing to do with the backgrounds. Doesn't change them at all. It changes the texture filtering. It changes the sprite filtering. Sprite backgrounds? Nope. Just the sprites. So, yeah, you can leave it at whatever. Yeah, if you want the sharpest option, that's what point is for. If they didn't include that, like in the, Mega Man Battle Network collection, it's not... that one's on scaling, I believe. But if you leave it to the largest option, it forces a bilinear filter. And you need a mod to remove the bilinear filter. But that kind of blur is noticeable. It's been harder to notice here. So, yeah, add some scanline filters. By the way, if anyone does, what is it? CRT glass, scanline glass, whatever it is. It's like an overlay program in general for any game, and it supports RetroArch shaders. My favorite RetroArch CRT shader is Royale XM29. That's especially if you're doing pre-rendered games, I'd give that a shot, see what you think of it. Royale XM29 in the RetroArch shaders. So, We got, yeah, see, like, when there's too many tiny details in the images, it's gonna lose the work like this. Like, it's not, you know, the original art, the original painting and art did not look like that. That's the thing. Is it OpenGL or Vulkan? I don't know. No, I don't know off the top of my head. New variant, it's not new. No, it's been there for a while. When I did the Chrono Cross video, which has been 2 years now, 2 years ago, it was there. Now it's been there for a while. But it's one of my favorites. It's always, I think it looks great. So, on mobile, on iPad, the backgrounds don't look that bad. This game is also on mobile, I believe. Like, this game just released on everything. Which we will, there's actually, I don't know if it'll show there, but in this game, when you start it up, it has on-screen HUD for, it has a, let's move forward to that. It has on-screen HUD that feels pretty damn mobile. It has a ton of options here. You can turn it off, thankfully. But man, it's pretty distracting. Yeah, no, I already turned it off. The remaster also adds a, it adds those points over the door there. It lets you know of what exits and entrances there are. The original doesn't do that, you kind of have to guess. More curious how it runs on Switch. As far as I could tell from watching videos prior, it looks like it's 1080-60. For sure, for sure it maintains 60 just fine. The text, I was looking at the text sharpness, and the text looked fine too. The text didn't look blurry, so I have to assume it is also 1080. I'm fine with the font too. I always will like the original pixel font, but this font is fine that they picked. For sure better than the sans serifs they use for like the pixel remasters at first. So, I really did want to get back to more gameplay things to talk about. Because there's more to this remaster than just the graphics. It has... and let me reference this too, because I pulled up the SaGa subreddit, where there is a thread of people that have been keeping track of things. So this is a good, like, fundamental list of some things and content, some of which the game also tells you in-game. There's some things that we're going to reference that the game tells you are new in-game. So, in some of the new content includes new scenarios or scenes, new characters, new post-game content. We've seen already, actually, well, no, we'll see it later, UI improvements, because there's some, like, things you wouldn't really see anymore, but they look fine. Or the UI makes a little more sense now if you're used to modern UI. And it is not it does not necessarily look like mobile UI either. So that's a plus. Let's see. You can exit out of a chapter, resetting yourself to whatever stats or inventory you had at the start of the chapter. In the case of, like, you get stuck in a chapter, that's to get you out. I'm gonna turn this up a little. Yeah, walking further when you extend it out to 16:9. Thankfully, you know, it's... They didn't crop it, they didn't stretch it. It's crazy, they just drew out more. It's cool how much of the original game, like, stays intact. So yeah, once you complete a chapter in the game, you're locked out, so the reset option is useful. Oh yeah, because you can't get back to that world map until you finish the chapter. Yeah. Let's see. Talking about the backgrounds, sprites, yeah. Quality of life features you would expect, such as game speed. It does up to 2 times speed and 3 times speed. You can set it to the you can set R3 to cycle between normal speed, 2x speed, and 3x speed separately in the field, and then from battle. They are separate, right? I didn't think of that. I'm pretty sure they are. Transitions better also. It's also faster. It's actually, the transitions in the battle, it's crazy that it kind of maintains what the original game's transitions were doing into battle. Oh, sorry, translation you said. You said translation. I was gonna say, they maintain the transitions, the battle transitions you would expect in a PS1 RPG. It's really cool how well they retained them, and the frame buffer effects of them. It's kind of crazy. Translation, yeah, the translation has been refined. It went through, it for sure went through some revising, layer of refinement. So, because the reason I have different settings here, I said at the beginning of the stream, when you start the game yourself, there will be different default settings activated. I already recorded the very beginning of the game for an hour, and that footage had no audio. So I had to go back and re-record the beginning of the game, and I didn't have my settings changed back to, I didn't have my settings changed back to the defaults. One other feature of this remaster, I'm not sure where I explore it. Does anyone know the hotkeys for a VLC player? We'll see, there it mentions it dig. This game had, Pocket Station compatibility. It had a little, Pocket Station thing. The Pocket Station was a Japan-only, peripheral memory card for, it had little buttons to play little mini-games on. And this game had dig. And the remaster lets you play it just fine and manage it. The original game, from what I read, in the manual for it, it has a whole page dedicated to the function, but you would have to import it. It was supported in the North American version, you just had to, you know, import the thing. Import the Pocket Station itself. But yeah, it was fully functional in the original, you just, you know, import. US version of FF7 supports the Pocket Station, but hardware never came out in the US. What was its function? I remember, 9's. Not 8. I remember 8's function. Chocobos. Huh. That figures. I did know this. No, hold on, I did know this. Yeah. And then I was also getting it confused with, Legend of Mana. Right, which also has support for it. But anyway, so, the Pocket Station game is always accessible and manageable. I wish I could find where I interact with it here. And where I pull up the menus for it, or if I... Wait, hold on, I could just show you. Again. I should have set this up on, like, a different screen. But it takes 2 seconds to show, so, there you go. When you press the touchpad, it brings it up. Let me, force the UI option so you see what they actually look like. Dig, button on. Notification, that should just be it, right? Oh no, because I have the overlay off entirely here. There. Oh wait, no, that's not the top of it. Overworld HUD. So, this is that's the mobile looking stuff that you can turn off. But yeah, top right has dig. And this is how it pulls up. You can kind of tell just from how this is formatted, it would be a Pocket Station thing. Send diggers to a variety of locales and have them return with excavated items. Sometimes acquire them in towns to visit during your journey. Your diggers are more likely to find rare items the more of them you have in your squad, so try looking high and low for them. So this is entirely here. Yeah, so a lot of these, this whole remaster is full of these hints and explanations. This is the kind of info in the original would be in the manual. So anything you would want here, because there are for sure mechanics in this game that you would want a hint or explanation for. And in the original, you would just read the manual. Can't really do that here, but it is all in-game presentable. So, right, a remaster? Yeah. Yep, we'll cover that. Alright. Hopefully they hit me up before release, and I can do something like what I did with Metaphor, except like planned better. That would be nice. Reread the hints, yeah. Yeah, so I talked about the icons. The icons for, like, showing entrances and exits are completely separate from the other UI overlay. How is, Xenoblade X, you mean? Yeah, it's been pretty damn good. I'm going through it a little slower, but it's about time to get back to it. Actually, I've been having the game idle for a while so I can claim Meridium, try to upgrade the shops. And the Switch Direct was great. For me. And it's also, another reason I would say the Switch Direct is great is because there's going to be another one very soon anyway. So, take what we can get from it. Raido Kusunoha and SaGa Frontier 2. Speaking of new mechanics, there's some new inventory mechanics here in the remaster. I don't show them in the footage, so I'm gonna pull it up and read out what it is. So, can I see it from here? I might as well just show this too. New to the remaster. Chips, a scrap-like material acquired from special ores or tools that are broken due to frequent use. Chips can be turned into crowns with the help of exchange specialists. Indicator of how many chips in circulation throughout Sandale. This number can be increased by scrapping items or exchange chips for crowns. CR being the currency of the game. So what does that have to do from materials? You can make them from scrapping items in your inventory. Scrap an item in your inventory to acquire chips, which can be traded for crowns with the help of an exchange specialist. Should you ever find yourself with a full inventory, scrapping items can be a great way to clear up space. So part of this is for clearing out your inventory if you have a full inventory, which is great because the game also has storage. When your inventory is full, any items acquired from enemies or during events will be sent to your storage. If your storage is also full, they will simply disappear. But the storage is new, the chips are new, the scrapping is new. Unless it's chip scrapping from surplus items, rather. I believe that's how I should be reading that. Anyone familiar with the original can clarify me on that one. But yeah. Let's see. Patapon on a Nintendo machine? I can't believe that Vita doesn't mean life, and neither does PSP, I fear. Okay, back to these. So yeah, new scenario, Remaster also has new scenario scenes and new characters and new post-game content. I don't know what any of that is, and if I was, to my understanding, I couldn't talk about it yet. Doesn't really matter, because I don't know what it is. So now I can get back to looking at footage, if there's anything that comes to mind here. Let's see. So we were going through this already. The music is the same, the sound effects are the same, and it's all pretty great that they retained it all. No need to mess with things that aged very well and are just fine how they are. The original, that's something, is the original navigation map here, you see on the right. It's a little more bare bones than the original, and because there's no button options even shown there, there's no menu navigation from just the list on the side. You kind of have to navigate your cursor around, and you use L1 and R1 to go between areas of the map. And it's just having the having the list on the left is very helpful. That's basically it. That list on the left is great. Let's see. Thankfully, all this, like, original art, like, what was right there. Right? There. Thankfully, all this art and all the character art is preserved. So anytime this is used, like, it's used in the game's opening, the game's, like, pre-rendered video FMV opening was remade in the new version. It's not upscaled, it's completely remade. Which it is just kind of a papered background going through images with text on screen. So it was a really simple opening, and they just remade it. So, I got a lot of questions here. Pixel remasters not of the content of the older games. They weren't considered, like, I guess they were considering that content superfluous. Not really adding anything too much. It was just kind of a bonus. I wouldn't say it is exactly that. There is such a thing as, like, bloated content. However, you know, I don't think it would have been too big of a deal. Especially with, like, new jobs as well. You know, there were some of them that had new jobs, like, in 5, right? 5 had new jobs. 5's new jobs are going to be in Final Fantasy XIV for the Final Fantasy V based field operations that they're doing next. It's featuring some Final Fantasy jobs, and some of those are just from the GBA. So if you play Pixel Remasters, you wouldn't be as familiar with those, oddly. Yeah, it didn't have, most of that stuff was post-game. Maybe they also considered they rebalanced too many things to think about post-game, but it's not like the Final Fantasy post-games were too, like... I don't think any of those 2D games have any... Okay, no, there's notable super bosses in them. I don't think they did anything too mechanically crazy in those post-games, though. So, I mean, I would have rather have them. I enjoyed playing the Pixel Remasters. I think it would have been cool to have that content. I look at the audio is same. Each version emulating a PS1 sound chip, or they record the audio? The files, just the audio files can be played, like, on your PC. In the original quality as well. Thanks to certain codecs that are available online. I would look into that. Where would I go for that? Most of those plugins use foobar. For a lot of my videos, I was doing that to get rips from the original games. I was getting the original audio files of them and using foobar to convert them to a high quality wave. So just avoid any sort of compression on them. Yeah, that's an option. Yeah. How they, like, screw it up with, like, FF7 original PC, they just had to use a different sound chip. Don't really have to worry about that anymore. But yeah, then... Final Fantasy and balance aren't words that... are words that'll never be in the same room. Yeah, for the most part, yeah. Let me see, what else comes next? So we got from the maps. Text has been fine, transitions have been fine. It definitely goes, screen transitions are faster. I'm happy that frame pacing is perfectly fine. Nothing is wonky about the 60 FPS, which the original is 60. In it can hit 60, and then some. Am I wrong again? Is it the character movement? I mean, so yeah, no, it's there. The battles are 30 though. The battles are 30. The battles have 3D backgrounds. Frame rates are maintained. In battle, it is still 30, but the UI is 60. The UI in battles is 60, where the battles themselves are 30 anyway. So that's pretty authentic there. I think I cleared everything that was on that subreddit page. So from here, it's just, what I would like to talk about and note. Let's see. I want to find a point in the remaster to talk about. I want to find this scene. It was after this. Here we go. Oh, it's not as bad as I thought. It's a little harder to tell what's going on here. It doesn't... The ore reflection doesn't... I mean, the original kind of doesn't look like that either. Battle's frame rates remain the same in the remaster. Yeah, but the UI is 60. Unless the original's UI is also 60. I wasn't paying attention there. But I did notice the UI itself moves at 60. And is retained. PS1's a wonky mix of FPS. Yeah. And some of it's impressive to do it. RPG has the most ports. It's I'm pretty sure it's got to be a Dragon Quest. Because it's got to be a platform. It's got to be a game that's on so many platforms we don't even know exist. I'm pretty sure that's going to be a Dragon Quest game. If I had to bet. If not Final Fantasy 1, probably a Dragon Quest game. So, more of the backgrounds. Refined translation. More options here. Glad we got through so much. While also showing so much here. Oh yeah, here's something. So in the original game... The original game came out in 1999 in Japan. It came out in 2000 in America. When this game came out in North America, the PS2 was already out in Japan. So that's how late in the PS1 life we're talking about. This is one of the first JRPGs I played that has analog support. So, I really enjoyed starting it up and finding when moving the turn it on, move the analog stick, and your default speed is running. Your default movement speed is running in OG. In the remaster, your default speed is slow. You have to hold circle, and there wasn't an option to change that. That's really weird. It's really weird that there's not even an option for it. They may just want you to use the speed up function. Yeah, so battle speed is separate from overworld speed. And they may just want you to do that, but I don't like that because it's just, you're seeing the walk animation at 3 times speed. I would rather just run faster and not have to hold a button for it. But they did that, I'm gonna hold the button the whole time. So, unless the option is hidden somewhere, but it didn't look like it was there to me. I'm pretty sure there isn't, as I was looking through, there wasn't an option. So that was something weird in the remaster, right? Hell, just feels good to run around, though, in both versions. It's great to just, it feels like a GBA game. To some extent, this feels like a GBA game. Like, they at this point, they were ready for the GBA, you know? Sprites look great. Let's see. So, on the right, I start going into more options, and then I can go through some options here. Vibration, HUD overworld, as I was saying, you can turn it off. You can also move it to the left side if you want. Overworld speed is separate from battle speed. You can keep the, if you want to keep the Pocket Station stuff, like, in mind, there's notifications for it. So you don't have to, like, constantly keep the UI up at all to see updates for it. You'll get notifications. Equipment button display toggle, I didn't really figure out what that meant. Color and visual support only has an on and off option. I'm pretty sure in most colorblind scenarios there's more info you want and that's not there. Also on the left are all the options you get. The button config is nicely thorough. Actually, it's a little... Let me show this on the left side, because this is interesting how this game does it. In the button config, you see how all those things are mapped to square? Square is your menu. You choose which one of those options gets to go there. So you can take options off of the menu and move them elsewhere, because everything still needs a button. I think it's a interesting approach. At least if you don't want options, but anyway. Anyway, it's really cool how the original does that. The remaster's more conventional in that way. The pause menu is just a pause menu. There's actually, in the OG, right, so, like, that was the list there. In the OG, this is me pressing L1, R1, L2, and R2 when it gets to it again. I do it when I go into this room. So these shortcuts, L1, R1, and everything, doesn't do anything in the remaster, but it brings up all these individual options. You get all those individual options when you bring up, when you bring up L2, R2, L1, R1. Shortcuts to them all. That's pretty cool. Yeah, and the menu there, even if you want that as well, to go between the same menus, but just picking from a list. That kind of customization is just really damn cool. You really don't see that kind of approach anymore. For the sake of modern UI though, and also larger screens and everything, we don't really need it either. The shortcuts would have been nice, but yeah. Not a necessity at all either. Tactics Remaster at some point, maybe not soon. So, let's see. Back to those options. Autosaving is new, and autosaving can be turned off if you want it. What else is here? Continue point. So when you can change where continue in the main menu will go from your latest save or go from the quick save. Event notifications and dig notifications. So separate from the battle speed setting, right? You can choose the battle speed setting, but you can also change it so that when you get a combo or when you get a glimmer, the game will go back to normal speed for those, which is nice. So you'll still get like the presentation of those things when they occur in battle. Battle tempo is kind of hard to see, but there is like a bit of a pause between enemy and your actions. There's a pause between everyone's actions, and modern just minimizes that wait time, basically. Dual battle settings is interesting. I guess for that sake, let's skip ahead to where you would do a dual battle. If you haven't seen this before. You see how these sprites look in battle, right? And like in these 3D settings with how the sprites look. Same as the overworld sprites, right? So we go into a duel in this game. And we got larger sprites. Also, music's great in this game, by the way. So you get larger sprites for these duels. To my understanding, some of these duels are unavoidable, like this one. But you can change it so that, there are other battles where it's optional in the remaster, and you get to choose, do you want to be given the choice, or do you want it to always go to the duel, or do you always want it to go to party battle? Because you don't have to do the duels in those cases. But if you do and duels are just 1v1, it's just one versus another, and you get to form your own combos out of your own available moves listed there, right? You're still able to glimmer. I think one of these, actually I think in both of these clips I accidentally do it. I get a cross slash, I think, in both of them. So this is only like an occasional thing, but with these 1v1 duels, it just is this different approach. Man, the effects are kind of retained too, right? Yeah, there we go. Cross break, that was the one. Yeah, it's really just the upscale, like everything else, like... And kind of at a distance, too, those backgrounds look fine. Yeah, but man, all these other features are nice. Yeah, Final Fantasy II really was a prototype SaGa game, 100%. Yep, so we covered those, and yeah, the option in the settings was about the optional ones if you want to do, or if you want to be given the choice or not, and then, you know, in the original, there was no choice. Let's see. So we jumped in a bit there. Also, I was saying I re-recorded the remaster footage so I get audio. That also means there is no audio in the PS1 version, but there is no need because it is the same audio quality. So, I wasn't too worried about that. Sound effects and all are exactly the same. You get different music and sound effects sliders, brightness, and as we talked about, texture filtering, which is for the sprites. It's not for the backgrounds, it's not for the 3D objects in battle, it is for the sprites. And the difference in it is very minor. But if you want the sharpest looking sprites, you set it to point. If you see shimmering on the sprites that bothers you when they're getting scaling up and down, you could set it to linear and it will minimize that. From FF17, I want this Final Fantasy VII Rebirth team to make the next mainline Final Fantasy. The battle system was so fucking good. There just needs to be a mainline game with that system. And I don't care what, like, wacky shit they do, you know, those games from the team that has done 7, 8, 10, 13, the team that has done all of those games, you just let them do what they want. You know, there's no reining those guys in. Whatever wacky story they want to do, let them do it. Just be along for the ride and all that. I mean, story-wise, yeah, go crazy. Go crazy, go stupid. Sure, why not time travel, you know? Alternate dimensions, yeah, whatever. We got the more, reined back approach with 16. I'm good for them doing more things like 7, 8, 10, 13 again if they want to. Because I know that gameplay is going to be great if the 7 Rebirth team were put on it. I don't know if I go through it as much, but yeah, equipment inventory and everything is more conventional. Though it's nothing to really, it didn't stick out to me. It's nothing really to write home about. If you're familiar with PS1 JRPGs, it's nothing you can't handle. If you're used to modern UI, the remaster will feel more familiar. This is just very functional UI design and menus. More sci-fi. We're good on medieval. We got enough fill of that for now. Especially if there's still a 9 remake happening, that's cope at this point, but if there was. So, I went through all those settings, talked about the Pocket Station stuff. I left the UI there just to show it. Story presentation. From the save menu, you can tell if a save, you can swap it to show you if a save includes the new content or not. Also in the I don't know, the saves you get is dependent on the memory card in the original, right? You get 60 save slots in the remaster, which I'm so thankful for. As someone who has to archive their save files and rotate saves for my videos, I'm so thankful that there's 60 save slots. I will fill those 60 slots and then have to back them up, but the fact that I have to get through 60 saves before I do that is great. So, I'm not sure about modern time Final Fantasy. I don't know, like, what, like, would 15 be considered modern? Because I don't know. PlayStation code being for PS4, PS5. Is it the PS4 version code? No, it's there is a separate PS5 version, and that is separate from the PS4 version. I'm not sure what would be different about them because they don't look more than... This doesn't look 4K, you know, so I don't know what difference there really would be. Especially because if I boot the PS4 version up, it would be PS4 Pro. I'm not sure what differences there are there. I can't imagine there are any, besides the button icons, of course. I think the button icons might be it. It would be hard to say maybe load times, but if the load times aren't noticeable elsewhere, then... 45 played Frontier for the PS1, time flies. I gotta be glad that like, you were here and watching. I enjoy, having the audience of people that are much older, right? Because these games I still like, they look great on PS1. I'm a big fan of how they look. And used to how they play. The remaster is great, and for anyone who wants a more modern approach, it's great it's offered. You know the difference between Frontier and romancing? Oh, you're asking 2K if they can explain that. As there was someone at the beginning of the stream asking it, because I'm not as familiar with romancing. Because the one I played. 3D Star Ocean looks so uncanny. That is the intended art style they want to go with. I don't know why. There is a... You could find it from the producer. There is a deliberate... The art style attempt with how it looks uncanny is completely deliberate and what they prefer. Let's see. Trying to think if there was what we get in battle at the start of battle. Vagrant Story. Oh god. Vagrant Story is one where its art style was so dependent on PS1. I'm not sure it would look too good in a remaster if it wasn't like original resolution and everything. That shit look great on original hardware. It would kind of require a lot of work. You know how they remodeled the models for Final Fantasy VIII? They would kind of have to do the same thing, but Vagrant Story has a much, like, potent art style that would be way harder to replicate. Nothing in battle seemed too different. Like, it's very well based on the original. I didn't notice fundamental battle differences outside of what we've mentioned in quality of life. Besides the pace of battles. Yeah, Vagrant would be, what is it? Vagrant would be better for a remake. Yeah, that's because I'm skipping around in the timeline for the remaster footage. It's kind of annoying me too. That's why I kind of want to let it play out more so I don't have to keep doing that. I wish there was if there was a VLC option for when you skip around to have it go quiet for a moment. That would actually be a really cool feature for VLC. I don't know what other context it would have besides what I'm talking about and what I'm doing for it. But that would be really nice. Flea isn't there in the original either. You will get at a point you'll get the other Flea option, the other escape option. Everything else, the glimmers I got, everything else seemed pretty consistent. It's just that, yeah, in the remaster, its pacing is better. And yeah, the speed up of battles is very helpful in the remaster. The speed up for battle is great. Even if you don't use the R3 speed up, the battles are just still faster because of that one option where it minimizes wait time. Oh yeah, so you got this pause menu in battle, and you get to read about the mechanics there. So if you want to learn about why what the distance mechanic is, negotiation, you want to do all this and see what duels are about. All the status ailments are right there. These things that in the original you were expected to open up the manual and look at, in the remaster it's in the pause menu. Very nice. Let's see. But yeah, if you need it to be faster, it goes up to 2 speed and then 3 speed. And I do start using that after this point. And the remaster footage goes up to the same point in the game as the original footage. And it is 10 minutes. It is exactly less than 10 minutes. There's a 10-minute difference between these clips. And consider that I'm not even able to use the battle speed up option until like this point. We're already this is 26 minutes into the recording. Right now we're at 28 minutes and 27 minutes. They're still pretty in sync. And then the battle speed up makes a big difference just from like in a half hour of gameplay, it takes out 10 minutes. A half hour becomes 20 minutes with it. It's so nice. And also optional, so. No, I wouldn't expect anything for, you mean SaGa rather than Xenogears? Or also Square probably doesn't have, Xenogears either. Let's see. These games I will get to at some point. I will say I was saying it last stream, I've been feeling like I'm getting antsy about trying to do work, which would be Dragon Quest III, I believe. I'm getting antsy about it, and I still am antsy about it, which is good. Especially now that, we'll talk about Rita again real quick, and it's pretty good news, right? Probably the last time I need to talk about Rita for a little while. So she went to a physical therapist rehab place earlier this week, and she had a very positive evaluation where they looked at her bad leg, and saw what was still there and the progress she had made in the last 6 months. And while she does have like a pain or like a neural, like it's a little harder to coordinate, she's actually gonna be capable of relearning how to use that leg. That's what the physical therapy program I got doing will be teaching her how to use her leg again. Which is something, because how she was looking was like as if she couldn't move it. It looked as if it didn't as like something was disconnected. Turns out, no, there's nothing like that at all. She just has to literally relearn to use it. She's even rebuilt muscle. She reacts when you pull it. It's all there. So great evaluation. You know, they gave her like obstacles to walk over, and she does it perfectly fine. So now, because if I was going back to the rehab place all the time, that would be very expensive. We're doing a month-long program of physical therapy. And also after that first session at the evaluation where they ran through and showed me all the stuff for her, and when we got home with her, right, she ran right upstairs. She hasn't been able to do that for a bit. she was feeling good enough to do that. That's crazy. I don't want her to do it because she's not in a state to be running upstairs anymore. She really should be carried up and down, as much as she doesn't want to. She still tries to jump out of the car because she wants to, and I have to stop her. So, and that explains why all that energy is still there, and why maybe she doesn't feel it, is because it's not necessarily that much pain or not something disconnected. She just has to relearn how to use it. And it was crazy today when I was doing it, and I was teaching her how to sit correctly again, or moving her leg in a proper, like, rotation you would expect a leg to move in. Essentially doing, like, bike pedaling with her leg. And at a point, it just started, like, transitioning into being correct, which is crazy. I didn't think it was possible. She started to sit up and sit down correctly again, and I almost started crying. That was crazy to see. I didn't think I'd see that. And then she started doing it on her own. So she literally just needs to relearn this stuff. And we got a whole month to learn. So, great progress. We'll see where we are in a month, but again, big thank you to everyone who has been supportive, especially financially, along the whole way. That physical therapy evaluation was like another, that was close to 200, but that one was certainly very well worth it. We could have done it earlier. I was into thinking that she needed something like an MRI, and that is what my vet said. And when I got to the physical therapy place, they were like, no, she's not really in a state where she needs a... I'm gonna skip ahead here to when I get back in. She's not in a state where she needed an MRI, and she wasn't back then either. She just needed physical therapy. Like, from the start, we should have taken her there, but she's still able to learn, so... And she still recovered. Her muscles and her nerves still recovered just fine. So, yeah, better late than never. Especially in her sake. And at her age, it's really impressive. So, thanks again, everyone, and let's continue back to here. So, let's see. This is a point where in the footage, back to if you have the game sped up, it will slow back down for glimmers or for combos, if you have that option on. Yeah, I'm just looking at things now and comparing the footage. I'm not sure why these 3D environments don't bother me as much as the ones in shit, what were we just doing? Not Xenoblade, the one before Xenoblade. What stream did I do before Xenoblade? Also, you probably noticed in the remaster how nice the transitions look. It's great. In Suikoden 1 and 2, there was something that didn't feel as well about the battle backgrounds, how they were 3D. These are kind of the same deal, but I'm still alright with how they look. Actually, you know what it might be, is the Suikoden ones are kind of recreated. And these look identical. Those look like the original, it looks like the original geometry, just upscaled. It's crazy how much of the original game they had and are working from. I don't know if they had source code. It seems really doubtful that they would have source code for this game. If this is reverse engineered, they have the right people reverse engineering their shit now. They did a great job here in making this game, in opening the game up for these things. Like, if they do, like, Final Fantasy IX again, they have to do, like, a fresh reattempt at it. They gotta do a fresh, reverse engineering decompilation. Yeah, there's so much stuff about it that feels very identical. Down from the feel to menus, cutscene pacing, all the same. The menu transition, the battle transitions being the same, that shit's crazy. Like, normally, at least the battle transitions get lost in translation to HD remasters. I really like how they did them here. So I don't know if Dragon Quest ports got outsourced, but most Final Fantasy ones are done by like Tosei or outsourced to another team. The Pixel Remaster is kind of an original team work. Or, I mean, it did also change directors, but still, it was more in-house. Whereas most of the other ones have been outsourced. Granted, Tosei is great at what they do. You know, Tosei is fantastic. They've done good work. Let's see here. I might skip around here now. As I said, yeah, this game doesn't budge off of 60. It's great. Frame pacing's fantastic. It's so nice to just see that. when things still bother me, like Legend of Mana still bothers me. FF13 is on Steam, but they're not great ports. Yeah, they would need like a whole other remaster, something that would preserve the original FMVs on PS3, because the PS3 version's FMVs are still higher quality than the re-rendered ones they did for Xbox One and Xbox Series. It's still higher quality than them. Not by much, but it is still higher quality. Actually, depending on who you ask, it might not be much. Let's see, hold on one sec. I made a mistake in where I was in conversation talking about Fatal Fury, City of the Wolves, and I said KOF instead, which caused miscommunication. Yeah, 13 can be a hallway. It has criticisms about that in its pacing and linearity. The battle system's fine. It's pretty, out there. It's a lot easier to go into it now with fixed expectations. If you were at the time when that shit came out, the expectations were more misplaced, and its original criticism was pretty harsh. But it's still worth playing. I would say it's still worth playing. If you play the other 3D Final Fantasies, I think you might as well. But yeah, it could be linear. For a good part, for a good ways through the game, it's always in linear. Not all of it is, though. Oh, sorry, my bitrate might be going down. So if the stream drops, I will be immediately right back after it stops buffering on my end. If it happens. I don't know if it'll happen yet. 10 is a linear game. 10 doesn't have a overworld map. I think 10 has better pacing, though I'm not as crazy for 10 either. But yeah, there's I would say it's more pacing and how they executed the pacing of a linear game. That's more so the issue. Because, yeah, it's, the pacing doesn't stand out nearly as much in Final Fantasy X. And a story, and also side activities, yeah. Let's see. I'm gonna look if there's an audio option. I don't know why there would be. That's such an obscure niche audio option to make. I'll worry about it later. And we talked about duels as well. We can get to this cutscene here. Oh yeah, I can skip through in the original, so yeah, we were showing the duels a lot earlier in the stream. Cutscenes. Everything about them really attained. Finished it 22 years ago, maybe. Well. Let's see. Oh. Let's skip ahead to this this battle. There, this one. I think I've covered about everything I wanted to talk about here. And it's great that I could condense it all and go through it in a more engaging way than the usual streams due to pre-recording the gameplay we've been watching. I am a fan of this approach. On my end, this makes it much easier, and I think this format is much more enjoyable as a viewing experience. Granted, the audio cutting when I have to move. Is something which is something, if I keep doing this, will be worth figuring out. I also like that it lets me come into this more prepared and more aware of what we're talking about and asking. Because one of the points of these streams would be people coming in, asking questions about the port. You know, we can talk about that's why I was looking up the Switch version, Steam Deck version, all running fine, surprisingly. Given the track record of everything, right? It's great to see. Man, I'm gonna continue, like, I already had, like, a separate save for everything in the remaster, right? But I'm probably gonna continue on the save I got here, because I got so many, glimmers. One hand each, yeah. Yeah, I'm doing it Sakurai style. No, I can't do the Sakurai style anymore. Especially because I'm dividing my attention way too much when I do that. I was gonna say, yeah, Final Fantasy is always changing and pushing the limits. It's always different. It's got similarities, but it's always different. It's like defining Street Fighter, when I think about it. Which game defines what gets to be Street Fighter? Because Street Fighter 2 does not play like 3, 3 doesn't play like 4, 4 sure as hell doesn't play like 5, and 5 doesn't play like 6. There's enough, maybe with the 3D games, but they all do something different. It's really cool that Final Fantasy gets to be a, something where it contains these different teams of different ideas. You know? Like, with the, schism between, like, Chrono Trigger and Final Fantasy VI, and then Final Fantasy VII, and then you got Ivalice. You know, the division there, and the division there helps them bring in stuff that's fresh. It is an idea with Final Fantasy that the director changes every game, right? So, Yoshi P gets lucky there, and being that his 2 games are 14 and 16. Hold on, let me throw that video back in. There. Yeah, Dragon Quest would play more of the same, but then even then, like, there are a number of Dragon Quest titles that have their own unique gimmicks to them, but I guess you would just, like, stop there. You would say that they're gimmicks. And gimmicks is not derogatory. Gimmicks is not a bad thing. Oh, it autoplayed. Oh, because they're in the same folder. That's interesting. There's nothing wrong with calling them gimmicks. Every Dragon Quest tries to have something notably different or unique to it, but not to the same grandiose way of Final Fantasy doing it. They haven't done turn-based in, Okay, no, I was gonna say 10 was the last turn-based one. ATB doesn't count. If they do more ATB, that's why I think it would work in the 7 remakes, or 7 Rebirth style. That approach to ATB is a lot more engaging and really well done. But I understand if we're talking turn-based, 10 was a really good example of that. Of like peak turn-based for Final Fantasy. But if we're talking ATB with like the PS1 games, it's completely different subject. I personally take 5 over 6 as well, yeah. I'm a big fan of Final Fantasy V. We get a June Direct this year? I don't know, because we're getting one in a week. That's kind of close. Oh, sorry, we were talking about Dragon Quest 5 and 6, not Final Fantasy 5 and 6. Dragon Quest 5 and 6. Yes, I hear that sentiment a lot. 5 over 6. Yeah. 5 is a really 5 has a lot of content to it, right? 5 has, like, if you were to 100% 5, it takes a notably longer time. Because it was, No, am I thinking of 5? 7 is the longest. Yeah, I was thinking of 7. Yeah, I was thinking of 7. I was getting 7 and 5 mixed up. Yeah, I absolutely. Let's see. I'm glad I got it to just get everything out, and what was seen is more interesting. Let's see here. Got through all these options. I think I'm good to just keep talking for a bit. Let me see. I'll talk for like another several minutes, and then it'll be time for DINNER for Rita. Not holding out for Xenogears, but it would be great. We'll see one day. I had another... Oh, we're gonna do Tony Hawk at some point. With Tony Hawk 3+4, I might wait until the early access of the demo to do a stream. There was something relevant to it before with one of the topics we were talking about with this game. And how it handles it. But that would be a pretty easy stream to do of just playing some Tony Hawk and talking about it. Can't remember what the subject was. And on top of that, I feel like there are some other streams to do. What other recent remasters are there that I haven't streamed? Aside from videos that'll happen, I feel like there's still some coming out soon that I haven't streamed yet. Trails might count. Because Trails is, by the end of this year, should be caught up in the West. Shit's crazy. Dragon Quest 3? Yeah, we streamed that. I streamed Dragon Quest 3, right? I finished Dragon Quest 3. I sure hope I streamed it at some point. Super stoked. Yeah, we're nearing the end of it. But thank you for tuning in. Yeah, we still have a bit to talk about, because I got everything out of the way with the game itself. I guess that happens when the stream is only an hour 25. I packed in all that stuff in the first hour. Granted, I don't mind that as much, but I always run into that. If the stream's like only an hour long, people are gonna come in and it's gonna be near end. But we'll keep going for a bit. Well, yeah, we're still going for a little bit. Dragon Quest 1 and 2, those are coming up, yep. They still don't have a date. It is cool that they are doing more with them in their story, with post-game content, for both, at least for 2, and as 3. It would be cool to see what they do, because the originals are the twist of the originals isn't really prevalent anymore because of the release order. Kind of gives it away, where 3 is the first one and 1 and 2 are coming way later. Yeah, in the trailer we saw in the Nintendo Direct, there was another party member being added. I saw someone on Blue Sky refer to them as a Atlas Remaster girl. And that really got me. The Atlas re-release, the token Atlas re-release girl. How's localization? It's refined. It is. It went through a round of revisement. As the original would, in most cases, like games of this era, done by one person, probably didn't get the refinement that it should have gotten. And also, I would assume it's rushed because this game came out in 2000. So I can only imagine, like, that's so late. Any later, it wouldn't have been worth getting the game out on PS1. Actually, that's not entirely true, because PS2 could play PS1, so everyone kept that expectation. Oh, Raido Kusunoha. The first game's getting a absurd remaster. That shit looks like a remake. But either way, we'll stream Raido Kusunoha and do a video on it at some point. Have an emulation station though, good shit. I was saying, and I guess I'll throw it out again, if anyone wants a CRT preset, and I know the shader glass, whatever it is, supports it, Royale XM29 is my recommendation, and I think worth trying out, especially for pre-rendered background PS1 games. I think they look great on it. It's worth a shot. Just try out that shader, the CRT shader. See if you like it or not. Otherwise, yeah, this game still looks fine. Oh my god, I remember. I didn't just stream Dragon Quest 3. I streamed more versions than I needed to of that game. That was a crazy stream. No wonder I put that out of my head. Which you said, Royale XM29. That should be enough of the name to be able to find it. Because when I have to find it again, that's what I go by. Royale XM29. Yeah, that Dragon Quest stream was crazy. That's one where it would have been a lot more manageable if I did it like this one. Yeah, I'm a fan of this approach, and I hope it has been more enjoyable to watch. I don't really look at stream statistics, like, ever. I just kind of go live. I don't even know how many viewers there ever are at any point. So I don't know how the retention rate here is, engagement hours, or... I mean, I'm looking at it now, just curious. if this format statistically works out. Alright, for 5 minutes, that's pretty expected, and we'll go back to, like, the trail stream had somebody else talking with me. That's not a good comparison. Yeah, it has longer engagement time than the usual streams. So, statistically, it works out. Oh wow, that Suikoden stream went well, apparently. Yeah, so I like this format. Let's see. I was imagining something gonna complete from scratch. Oh no, I was thinking about Final Fantasy IX still. Final Fantasy IX Remake with like modern shaders on that classic like the Final Fantasy IX or also the Crystal Chronicles art style, but with like modern shaders and clean from scratch assets. I think that'd look cool. Steam account value on SteamDB. It's a lot. I haven't looked like recently. That's not my Steam ID. Crisis Core was done very well. I was thinking, like, the Raito Kusunoha remake also looks like the same kind of case, where that feels a little hard to call a remaster, even though it makes sense. But that's like a whole, it feels like a remake, and both in the same sense of it. Account value is $3,400. Today's price, oh, I missed a zero in there. Today's price is $10,000. But I assume account value is the more important number. That's 3,400. Because of what happened with SMT3 Remaster. If you look at, if you just take a look at the quality difference between Raito and SMT3, there, I wouldn't, it doesn't even seem like it's from the same team. It's almost not fair that SMT3 didn't get the same type of remaster that Raito is getting. It's kind of crazy that Raito's getting the clearly more polished one. Codes from publishers? No, I had that for, I've had a Steam account since 2008? 2009. I've had a Steam account since 2009. And Steam sales back in the day were also pretty damn good. But I mean, because when you're at that point though, where you own so much shit, it's like, there's never good sales anymore. In an exaggerative way though, of course, there's always games and plenty still on the wish list at the moment. Let's see. I applied for a code for Gal Guardians 2, because that one is actually a Metroidvania. Gal Guardians 1 looked like it would be a Metroidvania, and then it wasn't. And Gal Guardians 2 is actually a Metroidvania. I applied for a code. They don't give it, I'll just buy it anyway. But I applied for it, so... see if anything comes of that. Won't worry about it for now. But if you wanted another Metroidvania from Inti Creates, you gotta kind of live with the fan service, but otherwise it's there. It's cool just to get more Inti Creates games. Sorry, you're just coming in now. How's the remaster looking? And honestly, never expected this to come out so soon. Yep, for real. I mean, outside, there was a Play Asia listing for this game years ago when the first SaGa Frontier 1 remaster came out. But we didn't know, like, when it would actually drop. So the fact that it was a shadow drop is crazy. And everything besides, like, we complained about the backgrounds and the AI upscaling. The other stuff is so convenient, and there's so much that's so faithful. It's really good to see, and it's stuff that I wish other remasters did, but we are getting to a point where it's the same with, like, Legend of Mana and SaGa Frontier 1. Lufia 1 and 2? No, I haven't. At some point, but... yeah, I would be looking for Raido on PC. Yeah, that's what you know with De Novo. Yeah, you know that expectation. Let's see. It's about the performance impact. I mean, if you believe that it's there, I think it does. I feel like it does something. I don't really mind too much. Capcom's original, we talked about this before, and also I gotta wrap it up at some point. Capcom's original DRM we do know has an impact when it was in Resident Evil 8. But with Capcom games, you install RE Framework, it takes out that DRM anyway. So it takes out the impact of that. De Novo, at least, you know, you'll get more if you're worried about it and the performance, you know, you would give something more consistent on consoles if it is of a concern. It doesn't really... I mean, I always have to, like, get PC version anyway, so... it's never on my mind, but it is, if it's there, yeah, we'll mention it. Speaking of, let's see. Oh, that's AI art on the front of Steam. Hate that. Because it looks uncanny. No De Novo in SaGa Frontier. So, might as well just mention it while we're here. I don't know if with as much as people bring up De Novo, it's not really about worrying about the kernel stuff, because I don't even know if that's actually true. That could be a stretch. The focus more on De Novo is just the performance impact it has. The activation shit's annoying too. The limited activation stuff and some form of requirement for online verification. That shit's annoying. Well, it's about time for RITA to get DINNER. Thanks everyone for watching. I think we did a pretty thorough job here in condensing everything and going through it within this time frame. And talk about some other stuff in the meantime. And if I was doing this stream earlier in the day, I probably would continue, but it's already 10 o'clock, so it's getting late. I gotta wind down for the night and take care of the pup and enjoy my Friday night. And I hope you all do as well. So thanks everyone for tuning in. It was a lot of fun. Let's do this format again and keep it up. I really enjoy it. If anyone, like, especially leave a comment, the comment would be easier to go back to if there's any feedback on this approach compared to the slower approach of playing through them. Anyway, so till next time, thank you for the continued support, everyone. I'll see you all later.